Hi, this video is intended for entertainment purposes only. We're here today to prove that 1 times 1 equals 2. Let's get to it. Alright, on this first line here, we have our basic addition equation in algebraic form, a plus b equals c. Alright, and then to the left of that, we have this here. Now today I'm going to use money because we all use money. It's a part of our everyday lives. Shit, we live and die by it. So let's get. So 1 times plus 0 equals 1. It works in this equation. It works in real life. It works on paper. That's the basics right there of math, right? And so we move down to the second row. We got 1 plus 1 equals 2. It works. We see it there. Satisfies the equation. It works. All right, now let's move down to the third one. Now, as you see here, I have A times B equals C. And that's your basic multiplication equation. All right, so now let's move over here. Now, we got 1 times 0 equals 0. And you'll be like, well, okay, yeah, that's right. That's what math tells us. But why don't you take a look up here to this first line? Okay? Now, if addition and multiplication are the same, then why does all of a sudden this 0 here in this equation means something or means nothing, but it works in the equation, right? We can add 1 to nothing and equal 1. It proves it works here in this equation. We know it works. So why all of a sudden is this 0 mean nothing? Like literally nothing. You can't time anything by 0 to get a total value. It's just 0. And that is where we need to go back and learn, or as I should say, we should go back and remember how math was taught to us, all right? Remember how math told us how to get that multiplication equation. All right, so I'm going to show you how math teaches you to get that multiplication equation using this addition equation. All right, this is how they taught us. So let's begin. All right, so we're going to use 2 to try to get to 10. All right? And so they taught you this. They taught you to keep adding 2 until you got the number you needed. Right? So you got 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. And then they told you to write out the algebraic equation so that you know where you need to put your numbers. You got A times B equals C. All right, and so what's the number that we want to get to? 10. And so we'll put it down here where C is supposed to be. All right, and what's the number that you're adding together to try to get that 10? 2. So you put it over here where the A is. And now they tell you to count how many 2's you have in order to find this number. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? And so that's how you get your multiplication equation. All right? That's how you and I were taught, or if not, I don't know. You tell me how you were taught, but this is how I was taught. Okay? And so now we looked at this, right? We see how we got to this equation. And so this equation, this number here, is this number anywhere in the original equation? Right up here. Is this number anywhere in the original equation? No, it's not. You just see 2's and you see the 10. So this number has nothing to do with the equation. And so math is telling us that this is what I just did, what I just showed you. That this is a part of this original addition, but it's not. It's not. So what math is telling you is this. This is just a number placeholder. This is what math is telling you. This is the real equation that you're using for multiplication. You're not using this up here. Just an example. You're not using this equation. You understand? No, you're not. You're using this equation. And it's wrong. It's not right. It's just flat out wrong. Because these two equations do not match. Look at it. They don't match. And here, this is something. This can be $1. Yes? In this equation, this B is something. It can be $1. But in this equation, it's just a number. It's just a number. That's it. That's all you're multiplying by. It's just a number. And so when you come here, they tell you, oh, it's just a number. It doesn't have any real value. And so you can't multiply by it. But remember, multiplication is addition. So why can't I add 1 to 0 down here? Right? And so we move on to the last row. 1 times 1 equals 1. Now, we just went through all the steps. And I told you that this is the equation that math is telling you to use. And so, when you come down here and you see this, and you look up here at the second equation, just like you did with the zeros, why can't I add these $2 together to get 2? But I can't do this down here because this is a number. this isn't a dollar. That's what math is telling you. So you got to do this with the equation. Okay? So this equation here is what math is telling you to do. But you look and see for yourselves. Let your mind click away. This becomes just a number. And so when you look at it like this, that equation works. Right? That's what math is telling us it is. Right? But it's not right. This is not the correct equation. This should never be here in this position. If you want to tell us that this is the real equation, but then tell us that this zero here is nothing. All of this is contradictory. It's lies. Now, the real falsity isn't the 1 for 1. 1 times 1, I should say. Excuse me. The real falsity is this here, third equation. Because it's not true. It's not true because this is supposed to be here. This is supposed to be something like this. And so that's why you could do this right here with 0. Because this is a unit. This is a unit. This is just a number we're multiplying the unit by. This is just a number we are multiplying the unit by. And so it's wrong. It can't be like this. That's what math told you it should be though. And then they changed it with a B so that you think that it's still a true equation. And that's where 1 times 1 come in. Now, because they switched this to a number, then this actually becomes true just because of this one number here, which in turn makes the rest of the multiplication table look true. But it's not, you see, because this here, this is the real falsity here, not the 1 times 1. The 1 times 1 is false, yes, but that is because the 0 is the real true false. Now, the 1 times 1, because it can be completed in this equation, right? Look, I can take my 1, I can times it by 1, and I can get 1. In this equation here, that is satisfied. And so the rest of the multiplication looks true, but it's not. This right here is the real falsity, because this should not equal 0. Okay? Now, it shouldn't be 0 simply because of these two equations. This is B. This is what math tells you the real equation is. And so, if these are both real equations, then 0 should be the same in both of these spots. Right? And then if this one here says 1 plus 0 equals 1, and if this 0 is the same as this 0, because of this equation that math gives you, then this is the same. These two zeros are the same. And this should equal 1. And then you can go to 1 times 1. All right. And so 1. Let's just use this real quick. So 1 times 1 should equal 2. Just like the 1 plus 1 up here equals 2. And then the 1 plus 0 equals 1. 1 times 0 should be equal to 1. 1 times 1 should be equal to 2. You can see it the most simplest way I could think of. Right there in your face. And so, let's go over something else. And you'll probably saying, well, show us the math. Let me see something so you can so I can understand it a bit more. Well, all right, let's do this real quick. All right. All right. So remember what I said. I just went over everything. All right. So let's do this. Let's do 5 plus 1, 4 plus 1. Now, I'm just going up to 5. Excuse my handwriting. All right. So this is the addition side. I only went up to 5. Right. And so I've proven to you that 0 times 1 equals 1. Or it should equal 1, I should say. All right. So I'm going to do the multiplication on this side. 1 times 0 equals 1. Times 0 equals 2. 3 times 0 equals 3. All right. So this is the original one. This is the addition, I should say. And this is the math. Now, this is what 0 should be when you multiply it to another number. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same number. So let's do a little multiplication here, alright? Alright. Alright. Let's just do it like this so you remember. Alright. Now, this is what 0 is supposed to be when you multiply it to another number. Okay? Now, let's do 1 times 1. Now, remember, this is what 0 is. Let's get to it. Alright, so 0 plus 0, 0, times 0 times 0, 0, 0 times 1 is 1. Okay, 0 times 0, 0 times 0, 0 times 1 is 1. 1 times 0. So 1 times 0 is 1. Then 1 times 0 is 1. And then 1 times 1 is 2. All right. Let me write it a little smaller so I can get the number. Zero, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. All right, the total is going to be 2. 2, 2, 0, 0. I know how to do math. You take your 4 decimal points, you move it over, and you got 222. Sorry. Math works. I got a whole number. Right? So, came here. I showed you my explanation. And if you want to hear my possible culprits for this mathematic problem fallacy, then like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll make another video. But before I go, one last final thing, all right? Let me get it together real quick. All right, y'all, time for the final part. This first line here is the pledge. The second line here is the turn. And this third line here is the prestige. The greatest magic trick ever performed.